What's going on, guys? MC here from Players of America, and I'm bringing you part 1 of part 5 of my pistol offensive playbook overview, I guess. I'm going to be going out of schemes, out of all these different formations, you know, even if it's a formation that I don't necessarily use or like, because, I mean, there's somebody out there who uses it, so I might as well go over it. So yeah, this part 1 is going to be going over 4 formations, and I will show you those with their audibles right now. So, we're going to be going over the trips open, the spread, the bunch, and trips. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this section of the playbook is the section I use the least, which is sort of surprising because usually spread and bunch and, you know, trips, those are my favorite formations, especially out of shotgun and single back. But since I made the switch to the pistol, I don't know, I just don't really use these that much. Except the trips open, I always like to open up my open up games in this formation with this scheme. Spread I hardly use, and then bunch and trips I might sprinkle in a few plays here and there, but I don't really use them that much. But the audibles for trips open, basically all these formations I like to put my favorite read option play at square. Triangle is usually my favorite pass play. L1 is some type of screen, and then R1 is my my next favorite play that is not in those 3 audibles, and you see those 4 right here. So let's you know, go over the trips open, and that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start off with flood post. This is not just my favorite play out of this formation, but it might be my favorite play out of this entire playbook. And because this is a 4 wide receiver set, I'm going to do this against the dime. So you see it's 2-man under right now. And triangle is going to be your main read because he destroys man, and most zones he'll get open against. But our setup that I like to do is this, and I will get into my other routes and why I set them up that way. But triangle, when you see its man, you're gonna want to throw it whenever he plants his foot and makes the cut. So that is what we are doing. Go to the instant replay just so you can see that in greater detail. See whenever I started to throw the ball, whenever he started to like plant his foot and all that. So So you see right there, if you look at the quarterback. Right there, whenever he makes that movement, he draws the ball up a little bit. That's whenever I've started to press down on triangle. And if you look at the wide receiver, he hasn't made his break yet. And so by doing this, by the time that my quarterback has cocked back and starts to throw, as soon as it starts to come out of his hands, the wide receiver is making his break. And for those of you who play football, I don't know, maybe you're wide receivers, quarterbacks. There's a lot of routes like this that you want to throw it before the wide receiver even looks. You know, they're going to be expecting it. That's just football 101, I guess. So yeah, you can throw it when he makes his break, or if you want to. I don't like to do it this way just because a lot of people use their safeties and they can react faster. Although he does get a little bit more wide open on this. You can wait for him to make his break and then throw it. You see there's a lot of separation there, but if somebody uses her in that safety, they can definitely come down. So that is him against man coverage. And the reason why I put circle on a curl is you always, whenever you're anticipating man defense, you always want more than one route that can beat man coverage. And so I always either do the curl, or if it's 8 yards or more from the first down, I do the smart routed out route, because that's still pretty effective against man coverage. So you see those 2 there. And I put square on the streak and R1 on the flat for zone defenses, and of course X is going to help out in zone defense. And what we're going to do here first is go against cover 3 against the baseline part of this formation. And what X is going to do is he's going to bring that blue flat zone down, and square is going to run off the deep blue. And this is not going to give yellow a chance to really defend. So triangle is left wide open down the field, all that stuff. And I understand that on Madden 25, a lot of people, whenever they set up defenses, they don't necessarily like to have these flat zones, so they'll put him in a purple, and that is where we will actually throw to X. So if you see that defender drop, and he's obviously into a purple zone, you just do that check down, and fumble, whatever. And so I'm just going to show you on the replay what that looks like in case you were not looking for it or missed it. So you see that that linebacker, well, he's more like a slot corner, I guess, out there. You see him drop way back, so obviously he's not going to be covering flats because X is going to the flat. And so triangle kind of runs him off, so you just dump it down to X, and, you know, even if it's just a 5-yard gain, in like the flat routes and stuff is still pretty decent. If you think about it, if you can get 5 yards every play out of flat routes, then, I mean, that's not going to happen, but, you know, just something to think about. Now, if they don't base a line, it's a little tricky because, one, it kind of looks like they're in man. You know, zones can kind of get confusing, but triangle's still going to be your main read, and if a zone follows him, unless it's a purple zone on the outside, you can just do an outside pass lead, get him open, and there you go. What I also like to do is, if I have to outside pass lead against the defense, especially in zone, I'll sometimes user him and undercut the route and catch it myself, like so. And so that is that. This is really effective, you know, 3rd and long. If you really need to get a big play before the second half, just look to this play and all that stuff. So, and then on the right side, against cover 3, R1, if you have time to wait, circle will come open. If not, you can just dump it down to R1. So the flat starts out going for circle, and then he comes down to the running back. I'll show you that real quick in the instant replay. So, okay. So you see the safety is in the flat now. It doesn't matter which player is in the flat zone coverage. They'll always go to circle first, and then they'll see the running back, and then they'll come down. And, you know, if you don't have that time to wait, I mean, you can, if you're not looking for a huge gain or something, or, you know, it's kind of wide open over there, you can just dump it down to the running back and, you know, get a decent gain, I guess. So that is basically that play. Just make your reads. I usually like to go with triangle first, and then, you know, just kind of read the defense, if they're aligned, whatever, and that should help you out. There are, I'll look at another, this play action boot, it's really hit or miss. If they're in a dime, I wouldn't run the play action boot because the routes that the wide receivers run don't get open against man coverage. If it's like a dime zone, all the routes are going to be covered up. But if they're doing like a base 4-3, base 3-4, something like that, then you can go ahead and run it, and a lot of times triangle might get open in zones. I guess I'll just run one for you. Let's go with like a 4-3, cover 3, I guess. And so we're just gonna, you know, put circle on a drag, see how this goes. And circle gets pretty wide open. I was actually looking for triangle on that, but he didn't get open. But yeah, but if there's a, you know, if they're in a quarter or a dime or something, I was trying to force it to triangle, then pretty much every route's going to get open, so just be aware of that. It's not that great of a play. The routes will get open a little more, you know, if you keep the play action, but it's not really one that's a big play by any means. The rest of the route, the rest of the passing plays in this formation aren't really that great, which is one reason why I kind of open it up in this. It kind of keeps my offense simple as far as mixing up play action, pass, and run, and then I can get into my more creative stuff after that. The draw, it's alright. Whenever I practice running plays, I just always do it against random defenses. The draw is okay, but I actually like the dive better. I mean, you see it work there, but there's just, I don't know, out of this formation, I don't really like that delay. I mean, I got a couple decent yards. Like, oh yeah, well, you're not gonna really do this that much on the goal line, but I mean, you guys know how draws work. But I'm gonna show you the dive because the right end, probably like 8 or 9 times out of 10, does something interesting against these dive plays. So I'm gonna go random again, and let's see if he does it in this play. Well, they blocked him because it was like a dollar set. A lot of times he'll take himself out of the play, and nope, that's not what I was looking for. Well, now that I'm, you know, showing you guys, these defenders aren't on their best behavior. Okay, there he goes. Go to the instant replay just in case they're being turds again and don't do it. I think I was getting a lot of 3-man rushes before, and that was why. So if you look at the right defensive end, the left on the screen, a lot of times he is going to do this where he kind of stands up like it's either a read option or a counter, and he sort of just takes himself out of the play. So, you know, he's just chilling there. I mean, what this means is we can't really run to the left, but if you look, it's, you know, designed to run to the right. So automatically with this play, because he takes himself out, I always just slide my blocking to the right, and yeah, that's basically. Now of course they picked him up because there was no one there. I'm gonna go out of like a 4-3 or something so I can give you guys more looks with that. I swear I'm not lying. Well, let's see if they do it out of the nickel. Alright, so he does it out of the nickel. So as long as there's like 2 or 3 linebackers back there, no, he's not gonna do it on this play, then he will most likely take himself out of the play. I'm just gonna go over it real quick. I'll just do like a 4-3, cover 3 or something. And the dive, no, not the draw, the dive. So, see if he does it. Okay, he doesn't. I swear to God, he was doing it earlier. I don't know what's going on now. Maybe, I don't know, maybe my tackle's just being too aggressive. But, yeah, he usually, let's spread the D-line and see what that does. Okay, there it is. I guess it was my line that was doing it. So we're just gonna, you know, show you, because he's standing up, just like I told you he would. So basically, I guess he's gonna stand up either way, and the only way he's gonna occupy a blocker is if it's your own left tackle engaging him. So he's not really a player you have to worry about with the dive. So he's basically either gonna get blocked or he's just gonna stand there. Kind of upset that he wasn't giving me those looks that I was getting earlier. But another play out of this is the halfback counter. I'm not really big on this one. It seems to be hit or miss. But I'll just show you here. More often than not, you'll want to kind of take an inside cut relative to your blocker rather than cutting the outside. But of course there are exceptions like this play where you just go ahead and go to the outside. The one thing I don't like about this is a lot of times if there's multiple blitzers on the same side, then your running back's going to get hit in the backfield because we only have one lineman pulling to the side you're running to. But I mean, you kind of get the feel of it. That time I should have took an outside cut, but yeah, you get the point. I was gonna, you know, just go to the other side with it and show you that you can do that, but I'm sure you already know. Nope. Okay, I'm just gonna run out of bounds here. Trying to get a look where I can just go to the other side. Well, screw it. I'll just go to the other side. So, you know, you can just do the whole switch the side that you go to. Although that didn't look too great, but you get the point. You know how to run the ball. But yeah, more often than not, I'd actually go through the B gap instead of the C gap, depending on how the defense reacts. And of course, you have your read option. So, what I would mostly I would suggest coming out in the halfback dive, and then you know, if you get a look something like this, and you're like, oh, okay, if the read option works out, then the quarterback will go for a big gain. another good thing about this is hopefully the defensive end stands up, because even if you don't get the look where you would keep it with the quarterback, you would still get a huge gain with your running back. I should have handed it off, but I was talking again. So let's, this is one where you wouldn't necessarily switch to read option, you would just do the dive, but let's see. Nope, I shouldn't have handed off. Well, I screwed up like twice in a row. This one, it's against the goal line, so screw it. Don't pay attention to that play. Alright, so, dang it. I hate getting these goal line, just throw it away. It's goal line looks when you don't want them. Alright, this isn't necessarily one you'd switch to the read option, but you see he cuts in and you have all this room out here, yada yada yada. I guess that is one you might want to switch to the read option. And then hopefully this is one where he doesn't bite on the play, but he doesn't bite, so you see the kind of yardage we get whenever the guy reads the quarterback instead. So that's one reason why I don't really put the dive in my audibles, but instead I come out in the dive. I mean, it's all about preference. So, you know, just switch it up. So if you think about it, you know, you come out in this pass play, I don't know what kind of defense they're in. You make your read, and, you know, you start destroying their man, start destroying their zone, and they start, you know, only rushing 3, only rushing 4. You hit them up the middle with this dive, you know, get some decent yardage. Stupid goal line. Decent yardage and all that. You can throw in that one play action play. I don't think that's in my audibles, but yeah. And so, you know, you just thin the defense out, and then you just start running up the middle, and then it gets to the point where they don't really, you know what to defend. If they put too many people against the run, then that triangle route's going to be pretty open and all that. And this wide receiver screen, this is just something to mix in. This isn't an every down thing. I have the ball on the right side of the field to show you, just because, you know, it would give that wheel route on the left side. Because it's most effective when you have McCoy on that wheel route, but you can always dump it off to him. I like to turn wide receiver screens into running back screens. You know, in the event that it is not on the right side of the field, that's not on the right side of the field, you can still, you know, do a swing route with McCoy and dump it down there. As you see, he didn't really, you know, get as much acceleration off the catch from it. And you can still do this. You can move him over there, but it's going to be a little obvious unless, wrong play. It's going to be a little more obvious unless, you know, in all your pass plays you just motion McCoy over here, which is something you definitely can do if you choose to do that. So yeah, that is those are the main plays, and of course you have the slip screen. Depends on what down it is and everything. I personally like to put, you know, square on an out route, X, leave them on the streak, and put triangle on the flat, so that way you can make a quick read. Oh, I didn't make a quick read like I just told you to make, but well, now we're going out to goal line, so screw that noise. Throw it out of bounds. You can just make a quick read, because if people are using defenders in coverage, then... Oh, I lied. I got X and triangle mixed up because it takes a little longer, you know, whenever you're back instead of single back, so you would dump it down to X instead of triangle. But anyway, people will be using it and they'll see that the screen is being set up, but whenever they go to cover it, you know, you just dump it down to X. And I mean, you have a lot of different options. You can put triangle on the outside on a man coverage route. Oh, wait. On a man coverage route, you know. And then you can always, you know, you have the screen for the dump down. So that's just something you'd have a lot of options with. So essentially what you have, I'm not going to go over all of them because I don't want to make this video too long, is... Alright, so you would have square and circle against man coverage, X, triangle. Actually, all 4 of them could be open against zone coverage, and then R1 is a very good check down. You know, if I hate to say it, but if you're one of those people that just likes to run the no huddle over and over, this is a good play to go to, because you can keep hitting all these different options, and the defense is just going to get frustrated, not know what to do, and you always have all those other good plays in your audible set. So that is basically the trips open formation. Like I said, that's what I like to come out in, how I like to open the game. This spread, I don't really like it that much. You know how screens work, you know how the read option works. That play action wide receiver screen is like the one we just ran, except with one less blocker. It's not really as good, but you can set up like a drag streak or a flat out combination on the right. There's nothing special about that fade smash. There is the halfback counter that works like the counter we just went off of. This, I'll go over this quick slot out, and I will go over, where is it? This play action boot. Other than that, unless they're in some sort of like cover 3 zone that is open over the middle, and you just do a post drag combination with X and circle. I guess I'll just go ahead and cover that one. Come out in a dime. So against man coverage, you know, put circle on something. Let's see if X gets open on the. Oh yeah, that was one okay thing about this. The post route by X is more often than not opening against man coverage. So I'll just run that one more time. But it's very, you see how tight that's played. It's very tricky sometimes. You do an inside lead, and of course you put square out there on the curl. Let's go ahead to cover 3 and see if this opens up. X or triangle is usually going to be who we look to on this. So, and he wasn't really open. I kind of forced that. I should have checked down to circle. So we're just going to run it again. So here he's coming. Circle is open for the check down. And usually if circle is not open, that means either triangle or triangle or X. Man, can't even think. Triangle or X is going to be open. So, and we left it in man, and you know how that goes. Like I said, this isn't really a play that I like all that much. And I mean, you can do the drag from both sides. Whichever side you don't drag is the side you just set the curl up on. And so, you know, triangle gets open there. Actually, I'd say triangle gets open a little more often than X would against zones and all that. So you just gotta make your reads. You know, practice plays, all that stuff. Use them. Go to my audibles, because I'm sure the other plays I want to go over are basically in the audibles. You have this play action boot, and I usually just like to put circle on a slant, because sometimes against man coverage he's wide open, other times it's going to be triangle. It's not the greatest play, but it kind of keeps the defense honest. You know, if you're mixing in runs, mixing in play actions, it's best against zone instead of man. So basically you just watch the crossing routes, and your reads are going to be your reads are going to be mainly on the right side. You see what X is doing, you see what triangle is doing. Square is usually going to be your last resort if nothing else is open. So that is, you know, basically the spread offense. I also just put the halfback slip screen in there. You can do any route combinations you want with that, and then you know how read options work. Although, well, that read option out of the spread is pretty decent. I usually get a lot of big yards off of it, so I guess that's one good thing about this formation. But it's not like you can just run the read option all game out of the same formation. So, yeah, that is definitely my least favorite formation, if you couldn't tell, out of this playbook. And the bunch has a few good plays, more like a couple, I guess. I don't know. this flanker drive, we're just going to come out against random defenses. The way I like to set this up is I like to put X on a slant and circle on a streak, and we're just going to do that for now. X and R1 are going to be opening its man. Circle will be opening its man as long as there's not a deep safety, and then all three can be opening its zone. So we are going to see. Oh, I should have lobbed that one. So we are just going. Oh, dang it! Stupid goal line defense. I wish they made an option where you could just select formations that you want the defense to come out in, but I guess that may happen one day. So you see circles open against that zone. It's all about making your reads. I usually like to look to R1 first, or it's hard to describe. I kind of just like look in that general area of R1 and circle, and it depends on how the defense reacts. You see it's R1 that time. And we're just gonna do main coverage here. So R1 main coverage, and then against main coverage, I like to do an outside lead, and hopefully he doesn't fumble. Maybe we'll get a better look with the main coverage, because if you do an outside lead on those routes, let's do man line, see what that does for us. I'm just gonna move him over here. Maybe this will help. Nope, apparently it doesn't. Because you see on R1's route, he kind of does that little, I don't know, it's like a 45-degree angle, kind of, not really, but you just see that little area down at his route where it kind of takes that little wiggle before he goes straight, and because of that, if you just throw it to the outside, that kind of confuses the defender, and we kind of saw it there on that play. I'll go back to it again. But it still does work if they're close. It makes the defender kind of pause. So outside lead, and so the defender kind of just, sits there instead of continues going towards the ball. Let's do 2 minutes. Okay, after this, I'm just going to come out in a dime. So yeah, you see same effect, even though he kind of like dove and fell down. And yeah, you just make your reads. I was trying to lob it there, and that's one where, if there wasn't a deep safety, I'm just gonna do the 2-man under without a deep safety. This is where you would want to put your fastest receivers, where circle is, because if you see it's man coverage and there's not a deep safety, you just lob it, and he's gonna be open against basically almost any cornerback, depending on their speed. So, and you always have, you can always look to X. Well, not on that play, but yeah, this play is mostly about circle and R1. X does a good job of taking people off of him. See, that's one where I waited a little long to throw that, but you get the idea. And so, you just make your reads, you get used to this play. This looks like circle's going to get open on this play, but we'll see how the defense reacts. And I was right. One thing that R1 does is he, if they're playing out of a cover 3, he will oftentimes get that outside corner to kind of just drift out. And we'll just see if that happens here. Hopefully, this gives us the look I'm talking about. Yeah. And that's going to open circle up a lot. So let's go to the instant replay. Instant replay. So you see that corner is in a deep blue zone because they're in cover 3. And because of the nature of R1's kind of wheel route, the corner just automatically goes out there, and that leaves circle wide open because X is going to demand the coverage of the yellow. And if you want to, you can even put, triangle on a streak of some sort, I guess, and that will occupy more zones as well. And I got dangerous with that inside lead, but you kind of just see how this goes, and then, Square's over there doing his own thing. You can, I don't know why I threw it to him, I was just talking about him. You can just do whatever. Square's a good check down. So yeah, it's all about making your reads. R1 outside lead against man coverage. R1 and circle are pretty open against zone coverage. Make square do a route that's good against man coverage and all that jazz. The play action deep in, I'm not really a big fan of, or the pin deep. They're not that great. The corner strike in Seattle would probably be the other two plays I would choose. Now this route by R1, I always alter it because although it's really good as far as, you know, getting him accelerated and up the field, sometimes he runs into these other two routes, especially if they're pressed, and kind of just, yeah, you see it there. And so what I like to do is I like to just put him in a flat. I put X in a streak, and you know, you just see how the defense reacts. I don't know why I threw that there. So that is an example of what not to do, or unless you just plan on doing that and forcing a fumble and recovering it, then that is fine by me. And we're just going to throw it away because it's in that stupid goal line defense. So here we go. We see how the defense reacts. It's man coverage. Circle is going to get wide open against man coverage. And let's go against man again. And just, you know, you have this route by square. It's not as good as it's been in years past, but it's still sort of effective against man coverage. You know, outside lead. It's a lot closer, but if you want to use it, you can use it. Throw it away against the goal line. And against zone coverage, you just got to make the read between R1 and X and square and all that. We're going to go out and cover 3 here. And, you know, X is open on the inside. A lot of times, R1 will get circle open or circle will get R1 open. It just depends. You just got to make those reads. And here, R1 got circle open. So that's a play that's been used for a while. Let's see if I have the other one in my. Yes, I do. Seattle. This is another one that's been used for a while. Basically, we'll use the circle route like we did in the first play out of this formation, where it's man coverage. You just do an outside lead. R1's going to be your next one, and you know, just put like triangle in a or circle or square. Good God, square in like a curl or something. And, you know, just make your reads. Circle is open against both zone and man most times. I actually should have thrown R1 in that instance. Let's see how the defense goes on this one. That time R1's open, and you just make your reads basically. R1, unlike in past years, is usually open against man coverage with an inside lead. Finally got the right play. But this year he's not really that open against it, but he is very open against zones, so it's all about making your reads. So yeah, basically if circle is covered, R1 is most likely going to be open. If circle is not covered, just go ahead and throw to him. He's your first read. And so yeah, that's basically how it goes. Let's go against man coverage real quick. You can throw to circle against man coverage. Because the corner is going to react like that as long as you do an outside lead. I'll go to the instant replay real quick. Bow, bow, bow. Instant replay. So yeah, you just do an outside lead and the corner is going to do, well, whatever he's doing. And I guess R1 was open, but that might have just been the way the men were aligned around the field. But that is basically this formation. You have this read option play, but if they read the quarterback, it's not really that great of a play. Actually, it's not really that great of a play in general, especially if you saw there they had more than one person coming on one side. So yeah, that is one reason why this one I just sprinkle plays around. They have a counter play that's pretty hit or miss, I think. Yeah, this counter, we're just going to run it a couple times. Like I said, it's hit or miss. You have 2 linemen point on this play, so that's some good news. You see, this is a hit play, so I guess that's good for the first example. Goal line. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more effective than that read option play I just showed you, but it's not going to look like that every single time. Well, you see, it just got blown up, so it seems like you either get like a 15-20-yard gain or you get tackled for a loss. So just be cautious when using that play. And last but not least, this this formation that's very similar to the first one we went over. that wide receiver screen works the same. The halfback counter is very similar to what we just did. I'll go over the counter real quick. This strong power play is a really good one. That screen is basically similar to the last one we set up. And then I'll go over the smash play. And of course, you know how read options work and all that stuff, and the draws. But this halfback counter, what's unique is, I mean, you can run it to this side and all that stuff because, well, obviously it was meant to be run to this side. But depending on how the defense is set up, you might go to the other side, and this isn't necessarily one where I'd go to the other side, but on the other side you have that that tight end right there on the line of scrimmage, and sometimes that's a benefit, sometimes it's not. It all just depends on how the defense reacts, but you know, you can run it to either side. So that's just one of those plays where you can just, you know, choose which side you run to depending on how the defense is, and that's very true with this strong power play because instead of a guard and a tackle, it's always the two guards, and the natural side to this play is to the right side on the outside, and you see he gets that lead there. And this, along with those, I forget what they're called, I think they're the split plays, are two of the main reasons why I actually switched to the pistol playbook, was because these two runs are very unique to pistol formations. No other formation really has them. At least not that I've seen. And so, yeah. And now you have, you know, 3 people out here ready to kill a safety. And, like I said, you can run it to the other side. I guess it all depends on what kind of look the defense comes out in. And you still have those wide receivers to block. I'd suggest, you know, if they're manned up, go ahead and run it to the right. If they're not, go ahead and run it to the left, because you have that added blocker. But, you know, well, don't run into your lineman like I just did. But yeah, it's basically how that run play goes. We have this, this smash play, and I think it was the X route. Let's go ahead and, what coverage are we in? Nope. Let's go out of man coverage real quick. And so I think, yeah, the X route's going to get open against man coverage, and I have something unique to show you with that in a second. Yeah, well, we're going to throw the ball away because of the stupid goal line. And, okay, so against man coverage, if you have that running back going out, you see that linebacker on the right is originally lined up against the tight end. But what's going to happen is he's going to switch. No, he's not. Just kidding. Maybe it was just the play that I had it in. Let me come out in a dime so I can show you what I'm talking about and not rely on the defense. So where did this? Okay, and we're going to come out in a dime just because. And so you see the corner is manned up on the tight end, and as the play goes along, he's going to switch to the running back because of that flat route. And this is going to leave the tight end against a linebacker who is guarding him from the inside. But if you leave the running back to block, the person guarding him on the outside is going to be covering him, and you see it just gets picked up. So it's very important to leave that running back on that route in order to help set up an open area for the tight end. And this also works against zones. Similar on the other side is the triangle route. It's not as wide open, but I mean, it's still pretty open. And you can either leave square on that little hitch, or you know, you can put him on a drag. And if he's on a drag, that actually helps square get open against zone coverage, as you see right there. I switched to a cover 3. I'll go ahead and do that again, because square and circle are going to be your main reads against cover 3. And we'll experiment here real quick. If you leave him on that little hitch, or actually put him on a smoke screen, we'll see if that opens triangle up on the outside. And not really, but yeah. So I would just you know, suggest putting him on a drag, and then whatever happens, happens. You just make the read against defense. Here we'll look to the right side of the field, see if X can get open. Nope. So you just check down a square, and he gets a pretty decent gain. So that is basically that play. And then of course you have the read option. You know, just make your reads, all that stuff. And I think the key to these is really mixing in those effect running plays. Instead of using the run to set up the pass, I like to use the pass to set up the run, because if you start destroying them with your pass plays, they're going to be concerned. They're going to be putting extra people into coverage, and then you just hit them with one of these dives, this strong power play, and then you just bust off a pretty decent gain while they have a lot of people respecting the pass. So it's all about just mixing it up and keeping the defense playing true. So hopefully this video helped you out. It went a little longer than I expected, but next video we are going to be going over the wing trips, wide trips, slots, and wing trips tight end. They're formations that I still don't use that much, but I do use them more than the 4 we just went over. And then after that we will really start getting into the meat of the playbook that I really like to use, and a lot of the more effective stuff. So if this was I think the purpose of this video was to kind of show you formations that aren't necessarily as good and show you what you can get out of them, or maybe you're like me and you use all these other formations that are very effective, but you don't really utilize these formations on the back end, and maybe this will allow you guys to see some stuff that you can use in there. But like I said, the 4 formations I just went over are the ones I use the least, but I'm going to cover all the formations, so I might as well just start with the ones that I don't necessarily use that much. And like I said, I like to open up with the trips open and just mix in run and pass and all that. So like this video if it helped you. Subscribe if you want to see part 2 and so on. Check out my other videos we have on the channel on the Madden 25 playlist, all that other stuff. If you're about to get the PS4, just got the PS4, the other 2 guys, Mr. 21215 and Strong Arm Playa, they've got some PS4 game footage for you guys, so just go check that out and check back for part 2.